Hey everyone, it's Steve and
Tiffany
from a different chick farm. Hey, we are here today. It is late February, and we are going to put one of the few seeds that you can safely sow this time of year in the ground in East Tennessee, Zone 7A, formerly 6B. So, Tiffany, what are we planting today?
We're planting peas.
What variety you got in your hand, Tiffany?
This one is the Royal Snow.
What's that?
Purple snow pea.
Oh, a purple snow pea. All right. So, we'll turn you around, let you see what Tiffany's doing. I've already cut a trench across the garden. It's a little bit crooked, but I think it's because I put my collards in a little bit crooked. So, it's all my fault, not hers. Sure. Tiffany, for the people that may not know, what does this pea seed look like? Whoa. See how shrunken it is, guys? Now, Tiffany's literally going to plant these basically side by side across through there. It's like, if I remember right, like every 2 inches. So, I mean, they're literally just about going to be touching each other. And she probably could let them touch each other and it probably wouldn't hurt nothing. Better her back than mine for this job. Normally we would use our seeder, but this ground is not freshly tilled and it don't work real well after the rain has packed it down. But it's getting ready to rain again, and
We wanted to get peas in the ground.
we may be days before we can get back in here again. These peas may be germinated and growing by the time this ground dries out enough for us to get back in here and work it. So we're probably going to put in a couple or 3 or 4 rolls here, probably 4 rolls of peas, maybe 6 here today real quick. We got a lot of other stuff to do on the farm. Tomorrow is our market day, so tomorrow we'll need to be ready for market at the VA. That's the local veterans hospital here in Johnson City. That is an amazing market if you're local and you haven't been to it, or if you're semi-local and haven't been to it. It's every Thursday from 10:30 to 3. We're usually there from 10 o'clock, maybe 9:45-ish, but 10 o'clock till around close to 3:30. My motto is, if we're still there, it's still for sale. There's very few exceptions to that rule. Occasionally we got somewhere we got to be and we have to get out a little quick, but basically if we're there, it's for sale. So let's turn back around and watch Tiffany a second. She's way cuter than I am. Look, I made her smile. Maybe embarrassed her a little bit too. Guys, if you find you a good woman, better take care of her and hang on to her. Tiffany was a city girl, which technically we're still in the city. I'm not a city boy. I grew up in the country, and but Tiffany is definitely no longer a city girl. She lives in the city.
Even though I'm still living in the same exact city that I was raised in, as a city girl.
But she's not a city girl no more, are you, girl?
No.
She would definitely rather have plants to put in the ground and to harvest fruits and vegetables off of than to have a bouquet of flowers any day of the week, right?
Yep.
Matter of fact,
Except if it's the bouquet.
yeah, if she grows them, that's fine.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, would you be happy or upset if I brought home 2 dozen roses?
I'd be like, why did you spend the money on roses?
So she would prefer a box of tulip bulbs or an apple tree. Yeah, an apple tree, something like that. She don't want nothing that's going to have to sit in a vase and throw away that I went and bought. Now, she likes to grow it and harvest it and put it in a vase. It's a different story. Then she don't like flowers. It's that she doesn't like wasting money on flowers. We're going to bring y'all back in a minute. Actually, I'll let Tiffany video me cutting a roll. I cut the roll because she gets a little squirrely. Now guys, we've got a hoe that is designed for cutting trenches, but it's not down here. We keep this one in the greenhouse over here. And so all I'm gonna do is turn this up on its side and use the corner to cut this roll. Works real easy. Nothing to it. Tiffany, you
Yep.
know what spacing is on the rolls of peas?
I was wanting to think. That's a good question.
I know we got to trellis them up, but I don't know what the spacing is off the top of my head.
Usually Johnny's has it on the back here.
Stop your video and we'll come back.
Okay.
Alright guys, it is 18 inches to 3 feet apart. I was thinking 2 foot, so we're going to go about 2 foot. The reason I'm not going 18 inches, because we tend to go really tight on our spacings. I'm not going 18 inches because I'm more than an 18-inch boy. So that would leave Tiffany harvesting all the peas all the time, which might be what happens anyway. This gives us a little bit more room to get around in here and maneuver, because we're going to trellis these up, and so we don't want to be ramming into the trellis.
So I think this is a good trade. He digs the ditch, I plant the seed. Works out rather nicely in my opinion. I think you're going a little crooked there.
No, I'm pretty close.
Okay.
It may be off a tad, but it's pulling me a little bit, the ground.
Okay. Back to my job, right?
So guys, we're showing you this video to show you how easy it is to grow food. Now, peas you got a short window with. Peas don't like growing all year long in the heat and the sun. You can force them and maybe get a little bit, but they really like the cool weather. And they germinate just great this time of year. So we try to go ahead and just get them in the ground. Enjoy them while they're in season, and then let them go. And that being said, that's something a lot of us need to do, is learn how to eat what's in season. It's a whole lot better for the environment if we eat local food that is in season. The stuff you buy that's out of season, whether you know it or not, is usually shipped from all over the world. Canada, Mexico, South America, England, Brazil, all sorts of places, even Australia. So many food's coming out of Australia. So if we can buy local and eat what's in season, it's a whole lot better. So anyway, we'll stop this for a second. We'll bring you back in a moment when we get a little bit more done. I got to cover over a roll of peas.
Okay, so we are finishing up our last row. Steven is pulling it down there and digging my ditch for me. But we have got 2 rows of royal snow, 2 rows of sugar snap, and 2 rows of avalanche. So that should give us a pretty decent amount of peas. Peas are not a huge item around here, and we just found out that our one major market is not opening until May this year. So peas are kind of going to be towards the end of being, actually, let's see, March, April, yeah. So they're just going to have been produced for a few weeks, so we'll have a few, but don't know how that's going to go. We do have our CSAs and our on-farm market, but anyway, it's not something we sell a ton of. We'll see how it goes this year, but Steve is finishing up covering that row, and I've got one more row of avalanche to do.
So after she does this, we're going to take a step in the greenhouse. We're going to go ahead and close the greenhouse. We got it vented a little bit, but we're going to see if we got any of our cold crops that we can put out here. So, all right, now we are moving on to, we decided to plant out some of our Walla Walla sweet onions. Now these won't get as big as they do when they're grown somewhere where they're overwintered. That being said, we got plans on something for this fall that you're going to be interested in finding out about if you like onions. So make sure you like and subscribe and follow us. Check back often on our videos because we've got something coming up for you about sweet onions. Now we are in an intermediate day state. So that means that we grow intermediate day onions. That being said, Walla Walla is, if I remember right, a long day onion. It is one of those though that is closer to our intermediate day instead of a long day or short day. Anyway, we're intermediate. I'm not positive what Walla Walla is, but it's one of those that comes close to what we are able to do. Now, we multi-sow. So if you can see there, there's about a half a dozen, exactly as a matter of fact, there's a half a dozen Walla Walla onions in that. And yes, you won't get those perfect big softball sized onions, but in intermediate day we usually don't get those big ones anyway. So we're looking for a small to medium onion to take to market. And so we will work these out, and it works out great. We can even pull some out early and use them as early onions, spring onions if we want to. But also it gives us the ability to pull the clump out and sell the whole clump at one time if it's ready. If not, we can pull out just the big ones and leave the other ones in there undisturbed. So we're about to get rained on, but we're going to at least try to get a few rolls of onions out here. And I'm going to turn you around and let you see what Tiffany's doing.
I like to go this way so you don't see my other side.
She is planting these just barely deep enough to get them into the soil, because we want them to bulb up, and if you plant them too deep, the bulbs don't form well. So these will break up out of the soil as they grow, and we're planting these every foot. My row was not perfectly straight, but I did the best that I could. And I've also got a job that I'm felling on here. So I am supposed to be poking these out for Tiffany, but since I was on the phone, I am behind, and she's going to beat me if I don't get caught up on my job, and I don't want to make her mad. So we sowed these back in January, didn't we, Tiff?
Yeah.
So we sowed these back in January. You can see they're pretty. Now some people will tell you to cut the tops off your onions, but there's actually no studies out there that tells you that's a great idea. Most of the studies tell you otherwise, that cutting the top of the onion allows for disease, and also that we know for sure that the green growth is what feeds the bulb. So we don't want to cut that off, because every time that onion gets more greenery on top, bigger greenery, it puts on more onion bulb on the bottom. And while we eat the greenery on spring onions, when we're growing these big sweet onions, we want to eat the bulb. We're not looking for greenery. We're looking for the bulb. Now, your sweet onions like these Walla Wallas don't store very well. They're not a long-term storage onion. They'll give you a little bit, but we're growing them for fresh market and for us. We eat a lot of onions, and we use a lot of onions in our hot sauce. Y'all see that face? That means she's done at that roll and wants to know why I don't have another one done yet. I gotta get to work. Okay, Tiffany has got 6 rolls, almost. We got a small piece down there that we run out of onions, so almost 6 rolls. There's 20 roughly onions per roll, so we're going to have roughly 115 since we don't have that one completed, and they're going to be about an average of 5 onions per bunch. As we said, we multi-sow these, and so if we'd hit our 120, then obviously that's going to be $600. So we're going to minus 25 off of that since we don't have that down there. Well, we're going to minus 5 off of that. So we're going to have about $5.95. And so these will be available on our farm market stand here on the farm. We may take some of them to market, and they'll be going into our CSAs. So CSA customers should like that, shouldn't they, Tiff?
Yep.
You ain't gonna eat any of them, are you?
Of course I am.
What, you don't mind onion and garlic breath?
No.
It doesn't bother you?
Not at all.
Huh. So over here where the peas are, now Tiffany's got to get labels on these so we remember they're Walla Wallas. We got to put stakes in the ground. But over here where the peas are, we'll probably follow that with a cucumber crop since we're already going to have a trellis up there. And so we'll let the cucumbers vine up the trellis more than likely. That ain't etched in stone. I'm not decided if I'm going to do every other roll or if I'm going to do 2 rolls, skip a roll, and 2 rolls back to back. But we'll figure that out when we get there. Well, the weather has held off. It's supposed to have rained by now, but we've had a little bit of a sprinkle here and there, but nothing to talk about. So me and Tiffany decided we would get some more collards in the ground. Matter of fact, the last of the collards that we're planting. And we decided that we would get some kale in the ground. So we've got that took care of on the collards, and we're starting on the kale. Now we plant the kale traditionally a different way than we do everything else, and we're doing the collard, this batch of collards, the same way. I've got an early roll up there I planted. There comes my hero. Tiffany has went to get us some staples for the fabric because I run out and my feet were killing me, so I sat down to take a break.
And then I completely forgot about my bucket.
She's a lot younger than me, so you know, I married a young woman. We use these staples until they're not reusable.
Along with our fabric, as you can tell.
And the fabric also. This fabric is probably, this batch is probably going into its 3rd to 5th season. I haven't tracked exactly. And then we've got some that's actually probably what, 6 seasons old?
Probably, or longer.
7.
Yeah.
So anyway, we plant on fabric to control the weeds because this kale is going to be here a long time, and I'm not sure how long is collards going to be here. We don't traditionally plant a lot of collards. Collards going to be here through the until it gets really hot. Yeah. So the kale will stay here all summer if it doesn't get too hot for it, and continue to grow into the fall and winter. So we'll be harvesting kale all the way up until probably Christmas time, won't we? So we got to put some staples in. Now what we've got, this is the same fabric we use for our peppers, which lends itself well to planting crops this way. So we got roughly 2 feet between plants and 18 inches between rolls, which is exactly reverse of what we would have done, which is 18 inches between rolls and 12 inches between plants. But this way we make rolls that run this way. We just kind of turn it, but our drip irrigation will run this way. So it works fine. We do that on peppers, have no problem with it whatsoever, and it'll work fine on this also. And if we was to have a great year where these kale plants get huge, we'll just pull that middle row out. It's not a big deal. So Tiffany's making herself a note on the fabric, like she thinks that'll be visible later when the dirt and everything gets on it. I mean, you know, it's a nice thought, but it ain't gonna happen.
I mean, it'll be there for at least a month.
All right, guys, I gotta finish putting down some fabric, and Tiffany's got to finish planting. And we got some collards left over. We'll probably up pop these collards and sell them as plant starts, even though these are traditionally we don't sell them, but since we got a few left over, we're going to have a half a dozen, looks like, that we can sell. So if you're local and you're looking for some collards to start and you don't want to start your own from seed, we'll have you hook up. Okay, guys, that's where we end this video. The rain's starting to come down. Tiffany's trying to finish the last of our collards. These are our kale. This is red Russian and white Russian she's finishing. We've already planted scarlet and dinosaur, lacinato kale. Quick view. There's a collard and kale. Tiffany's finishing up those last little 3 rolls. I'm gonna go put the hoe up, put up our scissors, and get the camera out of the rain. Hey guys, if you want garden tips and tricks, and if you just want to watch someone farm, we do this for a living. We are what I would consider a modern farm homestead. We don't raise beef. Would love to. We don't raise beef, and we don't raise hogs yet. We do raise chickens. We have raised turkeys in the past, and may in the future. We have raised ducks. Probably won't raise ducks again. I'm in the greenhouse. This will be taking a big transformation over the next week. We start planting tomatoes. This is a 30 by 72 Farmer's Friend. Farmer's Friend, wow. 30 by 72 Atlas. Farmer's Friend don't make one that big. We got a Farmer's Friend. This is an Atlas. And we're looking at a 30 by 96 Atlas right now to add to the farm. So, wish us luck. Thank y'all. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this video too. It really helps us out.